Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news of this evening, 71-year-old businessman shot dead in St. Mary home invasion. The St. Mary police have not identified a motive for the death of a 71-year-old businessman who was shot and killed in a home invasion Wednesday evening. Dead is Winston Williams of Bordy Villa in Enfield, St. Mary. Police reports are that Williams, along with his common-law wife, brother and a 12-year-old child, were at home around 7 p.m. when a group of armed men forcibly entered the house. The gunmen opened fire and Williams was hit in the upper part of his body. They then escaped. Williams was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The other occupants of the house escaped without injuries. The St. Mary Criminal Investigations Branch is investigating. 3 shot, 1 fatally in Manchester home invasion. A man was shot dead while his cousin and a woman were injured in a gun attack at their home in Hibernia near Devon in Manchester on Wednesday night. Relatives named the murdered victim as Evan Gibson, otherwise called the General, 45, a construction worker and a mechanic. Preliminary reports are that about 9:30 p.m., gunmen stormed the family home through a back door and opened fire, hitting Gibson multiple times. Another man, identified as his cousin, was shot in the leg, while the cousin's girlfriend was shot in the upper body. They were taken to hospital, where Gibson was pronounced dead, while the injured couple were admitted for treatment. 3 other people, including Gibson's 90-year-old grandmother, his teenage cousin, and the child's mother, were unharmed during the invasion. This latest incident has increased the number of people killed in Manchester since the start of the year to 47. Avril Gibson, Evan Gibson's father, told the news that his son was a hard worker.
The first 2 picking them out and back, one girl and one boy. The girl that fired. Much long me talk to him and I pay crying in the pan. You know. This man me talk to me son now one day the other and I said, General, come take down the decking board there for me. He says, yes, daddy, that come try come take you home. Him and his uncle. And see what happened there. Take my son life. I see him with you. Well, I don't know, me now drop out, because no so why they take me picking his life. You man, my builder, the kind of work in the man, my jack up all trade, but you know your vehicle come out and book down, and you drop out the engine, and I say, remember, I have to go and buy a man, you get back your vehicle. Sincha in a yard, Sincha in a yard. Anytime you book down a same place in a yard, you drop out the engine. And fix it and go on there. He's a skill man, he's full of skill. And then come murder him. Well, no sir, but the man is a man look by him. The man is good looking, you know. He's good looking. That's it. So they like you man, them like him. You never woman him kill him over. That's it. And mother and granny in the house there. Granny in the house, and I know they can't make him granny now. That's it.
Missing fishermen found, 1 dead. The fishermen who went missing last month have been found, 1 of the men having died during their 35 days at sea, the Jamaica Defense Force said. JDF said the men were found on Wednesday with the help of authorities in Honduras. The fishermen were last seen on October 29 after reportedly departing Middle Key in a blue and red vessel from Pedro Banks, destined for the Belmont area in Westmoreland, when they ran out of fuel. The JDF was subsequently contacted to provide assistance and deployed both air and maritime assets in search of the fishermen between October 29 and Friday, November 1. JDF on Thursday said after receiving the report that the fishermen were missing, it issued alerts to its partners in the Cayman Islands, Haiti, Belize, Honduras and Guatemala, and other seafarers to be on the lookout for the fishermen and their vessel. The men's families have been notified of their status, and the JDF and the Honduran authorities are coordinating the repatriation efforts, JDF said. It went on to remind all marine interests that overdue vessels or vessels in distress can be reported to the Joint Rescue Coordination Center at 876-967-8193. Unidentified man found dead with gunshot wounds in St. Catherine. Investigators assigned to the St. Catherine North Police Division are seeking to ascertain the identity of a man whose body was found in bushes in Crawle District in Riversdale in the parish on Wednesday. The police were alerted to the scene in the rural community about 2:30 p.m. Upon their arrival, the body was reportedly observed with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. It was removed and pronounced dead at the Linstead Hospital. The Linstead Criminal Investigations Branch has launched a probe into the matter. Motorcyclist killed in Hanover crash after swerving to avoid a pothole. A motorcyclist died on Wednesday after he tried to avoid a pothole and collided with a truck, a police report has revealed. The crash happened along the Johnsontown Main Road in Hanover. The name of the 26-year-old man was not released. The motorcyclist and the driver of the Hino truck were traveling in opposite directions when he reportedly swerved to avoid the pothole, according to the police report. The motorcycle collided into the right side of the truck's front. Last month, a 33-year-old woman was killed in a crash which occurred after the car in which she was traveling drove through a pothole in St. James and the driver lost the control of the vehicle. 20 road deaths have been recorded so far this month, a 50% decline when compared with the corresponding period last year. Some 333 people have died in motor vehicle crashes so far this year, a 14% dip year-on-year, police data show. Opposition demands details of settlement in Rio Cobre oil spill case. The opposition is demanding public disclosure of the reasons for the discontinuation of prosecution by the National Environmental and Planning Agency against the Tradewinds Citrus Limited in relation to the pollution of the Rio Cobre in December 2023. In a media release on Thursday, shadow spokesperson for Environment and Ecological Heritage, Sophia Fraser-Binns, said the opposition was concerned about the decision to discontinue the case. We are deeply concerned that the basis of the decision remains unknown, especially to the residents of the Bagua community who were directly affected by the pollution of the river. We also wish to ascertain whether the citizens whose rights were directly affected were consulted before the agreement with the company was made by NRCA and NEPO, she said. Fraser-Binns argued that transparency and good governance demand that the agreement be shared with the public and particularly with the affected residents. The opposition said the outcome of the prosecution and the cloak of confidentiality over the agreement made between the company and NEPO raised serious questions about the message of impunity being sent to persons whose aberrant practices contributed to the destruction of the environment. The decision by NEPO was announced in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Wednesday when its attorney informed the presiding judge that the regulator, the National Resources Conservation Authority, had reached a settlement with the company. However, when Judge Yvette Wentworth Miller requested the agreement for the court's scrutiny, the lawyer told her that it was confidential. Attorneys question need for death penalty legislation for mass murders. A disclosure by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck that he will be taking to Parliament legislation for the death penalty in cases of mass murders is receiving pushback from two defense attorneys. Clyde Williams and Bert Samuels are arguing that there are already provisions in law to punish those convicted of murder. Following Monday's mass shooting on Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness reiterated that the government will be implementing legislation specifically for perpetrators of those types of incidents. Addressing a Trelawney Justice of the Peace Association commissioning ceremony on Wednesday, Mr. Chuck cited the terror that has been unleashed by gangs on communities following multiple fatal mass shootings across the island. As a country, we have to fight back, and the government is prepared and determined to fight back. And that is why, apart from gang legislation, I will soon take to Parliament those gangs who are killing 2 or more people. The death sentence may well be there for them. We haven't imposed it yet, but it may well be there, and let it go up to the Privy Council, and if they get a life sentence, fine. But we have to start sending the signal that some of these gangsters must be out of the community forever, he asserted. But Attorney Clyde Williams has questioned the need for this specific capital punishment, arguing that the law already provides the death penalty for murders in specific circumstances, including killing a police officer, soldier, justice of the peace in furtherance of a robbery, breaking into someone's home, or where the murder is calculated to create a mass hysteria at a fair. So one is not so very sure about specifically what the minister means, because already there are provisions that I would say would cover that, he said. He believes strengthening the investigative capacity of the security forces and expanding the prosecutorial arm of the state are the most effective ways to tackle serious crimes. Attorney Bert Samuels argued that whenever there are convictions leading to the imposition of the death penalty, the Privy Council has deeply scrutinized these matters and struck them down in many instances. He said requests for the death penalty should remain with the Director of Public Prosecutions. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.